In this podcast episode, the guest Arthur Brooks discusses the concept of happiness and why he believes it is a trap. He argues that happiness is not a destination, but rather a direction. He explains that the idea of being blissful and happy all the time is unrealistic and unhealthy. He suggests that negative emotions such as sadness, anger, disgust, and fear are necessary for survival and should not be avoided. These emotions have kept humans alive throughout history by alerting them to potential dangers. Brooks emphasizes that happiness should not be the ultimate goal in life. Instead, he proposes that the pursuit of happiness should be the goal. He refers to Oprah Winfrey's concept of happiness, which he defines as a lifelong process of becoming happier. He believes that progress and achievement are essential for human flourishing and that the pursuit of happiness is a key aspect of this progress. The host of the podcast, Tom, discusses the traps that people fall into when it comes to their perceptions. He explains that people often confuse their perceptions with objective reality and become attached to their views. This attachment leads to a vicious cycle of pride and judgment, where people believe that their views are the only truth and anyone who disagrees is wrong. This attachment to one's views can lead to conflicts and unhappiness. Brooks agrees with Tom's assessment and adds that this attachment to one's views is a form of attachment that is detrimental to happiness. He compares it to the attachment people have to material possessions, saying that it is alienating and prevents personal growth. He suggests that people should not identify themselves with their views and should be open to the possibility that they may be wrong. He encourages people to seek out different perspectives and be willing to update their views based on new information. Tom raises the question of how people can begin to unwind their attachment to their views and extricate their identity from their beliefs. Brooks explains that this process starts with asking the question, "Who am I?" He suggests that people need to have a clear understanding of their identity that is not based on external factors. He introduces the concept of the I-self and the me-self, where the I-self is the observer and the me-self is the observed. He argues that people need to shift their focus from the me-self to the I-self in order to learn and grow. Brooks emphasizes the importance of intention without attachment. He explains that people need to have a clear intention or goal but should not be attached to the outcome. He uses the example of explorers like Columbus, who had a clear intention but were open to the possibility of finding something different. He suggests that people should approach their goals and beliefs with the same mindset, being open to new information and willing to update their views. The conversation then shifts to the topic of fulfillment and the different components of happiness. Brooks explains that happiness consists of three parts: enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. He emphasizes the importance of balance and abundance across these components. He notes that some people may have great enjoyment but little meaning, while others may have great meaning but little enjoyment. He suggests that a balance of all three components is necessary for true happiness. Tom shares his perspective on fulfillment, proposing a recipe that includes working hard, acquiring skills, and serving oneself and others. He argues that progress is a foundational pillar of happiness and that people need to be constantly striving and improving. Brooks agrees with this perspective and adds that people need to make the pursuit of happiness a deliberate goal. He encourages people to become obsessed with the science of happiness and to constantly seek ways to improve and spread happiness. The conversation continues with a discussion on the transient nature of satisfaction and the importance of understanding the science behind it. Brooks explains that satisfaction is a result of struggle and earning something. He notes that the brain has a tendency to return to equilibrium, which can make satisfaction difficult to maintain. He also distinguishes between pleasure and enjoyment, highlighting the importance of social interaction and memory in creating enjoyment. Brooks shares his personal experience of finding his why. He talks about his time as a French horn player in the Barcelona Symphony and how he couldn't answer the question of why he played music in the same way as Bach, who believed that music was the refreshment of the soul and the glorification of God. Brooks then became a social scientist, as he felt that this was a way for him to answer his why question and make a meaningful impact on people's lives. He discusses his educational background and how he became a quantitative social scientist, working in military operations research at the Rand Corporation. He found a sense of meaning in his work, as he was learning and pushing the boundaries of what was known about human behavior to improve people's lives. Brooks emphasizes the importance of focusing outward and caring for others rather than just focusing on self-care. He believes that true happiness comes from helping and serving others. He mentions studies that show that the more you give, the happier and more fulfilled you become. He also talks about the process of discernment and decision-making. He advises taking the time to think and reflect on your desires and interests in order to make informed decisions. He suggests practices such as meditation, prayer, and walking in nature to help with this process. Brooks introduces the concept of idols, which are substitutes for the ultimate goal of happiness. He explains that idols can be things like money, power, pleasure, or fame, and they can lead to unhappiness if they become the end goal rather than an intermediate goal. He encourages people to use their idols as a means to lift others up and make a positive impact in the world. He then delves into the topic of emotional self-management and the importance of understanding and managing our emotions. He explains that emotions are signals and that we have the power to choose how we react to them. He advises taking the time to pause and think before reacting to emotions, as this can lead to better decision-making and overall happiness. Brooks discusses the neurochemical cascade of falling in love and the importance of intervening early in the process to avoid negative consequences. He explains that understanding the science behind emotions can help us manage them more effectively. He continues by emphasizing the importance of doing the work and taking the time to reflect and think about our desires and decisions. He believes that by doing so, we can find clarity and make choices that align with our values and bring us true happiness. Brooks continues by explaining that the goal of a spiritual or philosophical life is to approach the complex oneness and ultimate truth that humans crave. He argues that instead of distracting ourselves with social media or materialistic pursuits, we should focus on doing the work and making progress towards our goals. Brooks suggests that enlightenment is a stand-in for God, and the pursuit of enlightenment is the pursuit of truth and understanding. He explains that different religions and philosophies have different ways of approaching this pursuit, but they all share the common goal of progress towards a higher purpose. He distinguishes between complicated and complex problems, using examples from mathematics. Complicated problems have many equations and unknowns, but they have a solution. On the other hand, complex problems, such as a football game or the problem of love, are simple to understand but cannot be fully simulated or solved. Brooks argues that the universe is stochastic, meaning it has randomness and complexity that cannot be fully understood or simulated. He believes that there is an underlying reality that we cannot perceive, and our goal is to get closer to it through progress and growth. He discusses the different perspectives on the relationship between essence and existence. Some believe that essence precedes existence, meaning that the meaning of life exists before we are born and our goal is to live up to that meaning. Others believe that existence precedes essence, and we have to create our own meaning. The third perspective is nihilism, which argues that there is no meaning in life. Brooks suggests that the pursuit of progress is the point of life, and it requires both an intellectual and spiritual pursuit. He believes that we have a craving for something bigger and better, and we need to look beyond the distractions and illusions of the world to find true fulfillment. He acknowledges the potential of AI and technology but argues that they cannot answer the deep questions and provide the true fulfillment that humans seek. He believes that technology is often focused on solving complicated problems rather than addressing the complex problems of life. Brooks continues by discussing the 4 pillars of a fulfilling life: faith or philosophy, family, friendship, and work. He emphasizes the importance of investing in these areas every day to build a stable and happy life. Brooks continues by explaining that happiness is often misunderstood and misinterpreted. He argues that happiness is not the ultimate goal, but rather a byproduct of living a meaningful and purposeful life. He suggests that instead of chasing happiness, individuals should focus on pleasure, power, and success, which can lead to a more fulfilling and satisfying life. Brooks discusses the concept of pleasure and how it differs from happiness. He explains that pleasure is a temporary and fleeting sensation, while happiness is a deeper and more long-lasting state of being. He encourages individuals to seek out pleasurable experiences, but not to rely solely on them for happiness. Next, Brooks explores the idea of power and its role in personal growth and fulfillment. He explains that power is not about dominance or control over others, but rather about having agency and control over one's own life. He suggests that individuals should strive to develop their personal power by taking responsibility for their actions and choices. Brooks also discusses the importance of success and how it can contribute to a sense of fulfillment. He explains that success is not just about achieving external markers of accomplishment, but also about personal growth and self-improvement. He encourages individuals to set goals and work towards them, as this can lead to a sense of purpose and satisfaction. Throughout the podcast, Brooks emphasizes the importance of relationships and connection in finding fulfillment. He discusses the role of family, friends, and romantic partners in creating a sense of belonging and support. He suggests that individuals should invest time and effort into building and maintaining these relationships. Brooks also addresses the role of spirituality and mindfulness in finding fulfillment. He suggests that individuals should cultivate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the present moment. He recommends practices such as meditation and prayer as ways to develop mindfulness and connect with a higher power. In addition, Brooks discusses the importance of personal growth and continuous learning. He encourages individuals to engage in activities that challenge them and push them outside of their comfort zones. He suggests that learning new skills and pursuing intellectual interests can contribute to a sense of fulfillment and personal satisfaction. Brooks also explores the concept of work and its role in finding fulfillment. He suggests that individuals should strive to find work that aligns with their values and passions. He emphasizes the importance of finding meaning and purpose in one's work, as this can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. Brooks discusses the importance of self-care and taking care of one's physical and mental well-being. He suggests that individuals should prioritize their health and engage in activities that promote self-care and relaxation. Brooks continues by explaining that happiness is not the same as pleasure. Pleasure is a temporary feeling that comes from external sources, such as eating good food or buying new things. Happiness, on the other hand, is a deeper and more lasting state of well-being that comes from living a life of meaning and purpose. He argues that many people today are chasing after pleasure and material success, thinking that it will bring them happiness. However, this pursuit often leads to disappointment and a sense of emptiness. Brooks suggests that instead of chasing after happiness, people should focus on mastering the psychology of pleasure, power, and success. Brooks explains that pleasure is a natural and necessary part of life, but it should not be the ultimate goal. Pleasure should be enjoyed in moderation and in the context of a meaningful life. He suggests that people should focus on pursuing activities that bring them joy and fulfillment, rather than constantly seeking out new sources of pleasure. Brooks also discusses the concept of power and how it relates to happiness. He explains that power is not about dominating others or seeking control, but rather about having a sense of agency and control over one's own life. He suggests that people should focus on developing their own personal power by setting goals, taking action, and making choices that align with their values and purpose. In addition, Brooks emphasizes the importance of success in finding happiness. However, He argues that success should not be measured solely by external achievements or material wealth. Instead, success should be defined by personal growth, self-improvement, and the pursuit of meaningful goals. Brooks also discusses the role of relationships in happiness. He explains that strong and meaningful relationships are essential for happiness and well-being. He suggests that people should prioritize their relationships and invest time and effort into building and maintaining them. Furthermore, Brooks talks about the importance of spirituality and faith in finding happiness. He explains that spirituality provides a sense of purpose and meaning, and can help people navigate through difficult times. He suggests that people should explore their own spirituality and find practices that resonate with them. Brooks also addresses the topic of marriage and relationships. He explains that successful marriages require sacrifice and compromise, and that couples should be willing to adapt and change for the sake of the relationship. He suggests that couples should support each other's personal growth and development, and that they should be open to exploring new experiences and adventures together. Finally, Brooks discusses the topic of raising children and the challenges of parenting. He emphasizes the importance of instilling values and a sense of purpose in children, and suggests that parents should encourage their children to explore their own interests and passions. He also discusses the concept of adoption and how it can be a meaningful and fulfilling experience. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe.